Dearest brothers and sisters, I'd like to share a few words with you about Living Tree Community Foods. We began some 44 years ago. I joined forces with John Kozak, a real farmer, a teacher and administrator with the Biodynamic Farming and Gardening Association of Southern California. And we created a farm, but it was a very, very special sort of farm. We did not grow fruits or vegetables. We grew trees. We grew heirloom and historic fruit trees. Fruit trees originating in England, France, Italy, Germany, and Russia. Some of them going back hundreds upon hundreds of years, with shapes and flavors not to be seen in ordinary grocery stores indeed. And we did that for 10 years. It never paid for itself. I'm proud to say that our trees are growing in backyards throughout the states. And in autumn, people send me boxes of fruits from the trees that they've purchased from us and that are now fruiting, but of course. We did this, but the market is very, very limited. In order to plant a tree nowadays, you've really got to own your own land. If you rent, even if you have a backyard, I can see and understand that you'd be disinclined indeed to plant a tree, because when you plant a tree, you've got to be around for at least 4 years before it comes into appreciable fruiting. And in this world, the way it is, there are very few people in that position. The vast majority of people live in apartments. They simply don't have a possibility to plant a tree. So we closed our nursery down, and I came over here to Berkeley and founded the food company, Living Tree Community Foods. Our first product was roasted almond butter. You roast almonds and then you put them in a grinder and it flashes right away into nut butter. The roasting releases the oil. But a woman kept phoning, "Jesse, you have to make a live organic almond butter, raw almond butter. It's too difficult. It will gum up the machine." But we experimented, and we found that the secret of making raw almond butter is to grind, let it rest overnight, and then grind the next day, and maybe let it rest overnight and grind again, and sooner or later it flashes into a live, organic, raw almond butter. And another secret of our almond butter are the people who grow the almonds. It's the Kortoff family out of Fresno, and they're a family of 5 generations on the land. They came over from the old country. On their way here, they did a bit of digging, helped build the Panama Canal at great price, by the way, because many of them suffered from malaria in a situation where you were in a steam bath 24 hours a day. That's how hot it was. They came over here. They bought 20 acres of land, not to grow almonds or any such thing like that, but simply to grow food to feed their large families. And basically, and after that, they branched out, and now they have 500 acres, and on those 500 acres, they grow 70,000 almond trees. The almonds are watered by melting snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains that are brought down from the mountains through an ingenious arrangement of irrigation canals, the purest water that there could possibly be. And of course they are fertilized, or the trees are fertilized organically and naturally, but of course. So that's the secret of our alive organic almond butter, our privilege to create this crop. And what about the intentionality that goes into the almond butter? Well, let me tell you about that. It's our secret ingredient. Beyond the physicality of the almonds itself is our intentionality. We support family farmers. Family farmers are struggling. The big guys have discovered the organic market, the multi-billion-dollar market that's growing two or three times faster than the regular food market. So the big guys are moving in. Family farmers are under a lot of stress from the competition, but of course, and we support family farmers utterly, as did Thomas Jefferson, who viewed upon American family farmers as the backbone, as the living essence of this great country. We are privileged indeed to work with them. And another facet of our business is that we support Hetch Hetchy. Hetch Hetchy is a great valley in the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's parallel 20 miles north of Yosemite, one of the most beautiful valleys on the surface of this earth. Yosemite is visited by over 3 million people every year, but not Hetch Hetchy. It was equally beautiful, people say, but now it is immersed under hundreds of feet of water. The powers that be viewed Hetch Hetchy as a natural basin. It's surrounded by granite cliffs, and they built a dam. It's a great reservoir now, and it supplies water to San Francisco. San Francisco nowadays has many other sources of water. Hetch Hetchy is no longer vitally necessary, and we support the dismantling of the dam and the restoration of Hetch Hetchy Valley to its pristine, magnificent beauty. It will become another great tourist attraction and an inspiration for every single American. And let me prophesy, with the return of Hetch Hetchy will mark the renewal, the regeneration, and the recreation of these United States, which, if you read out loud the headlines of any newspaper, you'll see is a vital necessity. Renewal, regeneration, and recreation, the 3 R's. We also support edible schoolyards. When I went to school at PS 217 in Brooklyn, New York, the schoolyard was paved with concrete, and there was a 20-foot high fence, and on top of the fence there was barbed wire. For what, I don't know. We support edible schoolyard. Within walking distance of here, at the Martin Luther King Jr. School, there is a magnificent edible schoolyard. Imagine the students during the day go out and grow the salad greens that they partake of during their school lunches. Imagine that. Imagine that. And speaking of school lunches, it is so sad to see that once again the big guys are moving in with ultra-processed foods. Imagine the arrogance that it takes to impose ultra-processed foods that have never existed upon the surface of this earth, and to impose this upon school children, to whom nutritious food is so vital, necessary, and important in their growing years. And speaking about food, we support everyone growing as much of their food as they possibly can. We support people digging up their front lawns and planting vegetables or fruit trees in their front yards, and in their backyards planting raised beds of lettuce, celery, Swiss chard, and kale. It's all so possible. And if you don't have a front yard or a backyard, maybe perhaps you have a patio. And in your patio, you'll find so many videos on YouTube of people planting wonderful living greens and vegetables in buckets and jars, and buckets and jars on their patios. And of course, the highest would be to get together with friends and family in your local community garden. We're members of our community garden here in Berkeley, and we take great pleasure and ecstatic joy in that every once a week we bring the buckets of kitchen scraps and compost. We call it gold, and it is gold. We bring it to the community garden. We add it to the community garden compost pile, where it's transformed into nutritious, viable, friable black earth, which makes everything grow. So, my dear friends and brothers and sisters, thank you for allowing me to share a few thoughts with you. We welcome your questions and suggestions. We want so much to hear from you. You might want to hit the subscribe button down below, and even perhaps give us a like. Let us go forward. Renewal, recreation, regeneration. My privilege to share a few thoughts. Thank you.